evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me? You hear us okay on this end? I've been listening to all of y'all. Welcome. Good evening for regular session, Clinton County Legislature for Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. I will call the meeting to order at 5:15 p.m. and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance on our end here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Zerlo, would you please conduct the roll? Certainly, Chairman. Mr. Castine.
Present.
Mr. Conroy. Mr. Hall. Here. Mr. Henry. Here. Mr. Hughes. Here. Mr. Perrier. Here. Mr. Potiker. Here. Mr. Timmons. Here. Ms. Waldron.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir. Thank you very much. I believe we have Congresswoman Stefanik with us now. I think I see her there.
Yes, hi, Chairman Henry. I thought I would give just a brief update. Thank you so much. We've been doing these to each of the 12 counties in the district, either the county legislatures or the Board of Supervisors. I know that I've spoken with many of you before recently, but just for the entire group, I'm going to give an update on the December COVID package, as well as the border reopening process, followed by an update on the vaccine funding for distribution and allocation, and then the negotiations on the new package. So first, at the end of last year, as you know, we worked for months to negotiate a final COVID relief package to close out 2020 after many months of waiting. That package included $325 billion of additional Paycheck Protection Program funds. It also, importantly, included deductibility provisions. So there was some confusion among small businesses, given the Department of Treasury was not going to allow them to deduct their expenses, utilities, payroll, if they used PPP funds. I was one of the members that spoke directly to Secretary Mnuchin to ensure that our small businesses were able to make those deductions. That was really important to get done. Businesses are eligible to apply for a second round of PPP if they meet the following criteria. Number one, they have to have utilized their entire first PPP round of funding. They also have to demonstrate a 30% revenue loss in Q1, Q2, or Q3 of 2020.
We just lost Louise.
Oh, is there? Nope.
Frozen.
She's coming back.
Sorry, it cut out. I'm coming through.
We can't hear you again,
Can
Congresswoman.
you hear me, Mark?
Yes, ma'am. You're back now. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. It included $5 billion of aid to New York State school districts that will be allocated this year, as well as $170 million that has gone out the door for North Country hospitals, or 140 and 171 for colleges and universities. On the border, we are working with the Biden administration to develop those metrics to safely reopen the border. Many of our priorities are vaccines for CBP officers, prioritizing property.
We've lost you again.
We got all our CBP officers in the Champlain, out of the Champlain Port. Mm-hmm.
We've lost the Congresswoman. Stand by. We have a team out looking for her right now.
You must live in the Adirondacks.
There she is. She's back again. Welcome.
I am so sorry. On the vaccines, there has been $1.6 billion in funding for New York State for vaccine distribution and allocation. To date, the state has received 3.38 million doses and has administered 2.42 doses. So we're going to continue to work with the state to improve that vaccination distribution plan. And I want to thank folks at CVPH and other organizations and Clinton County for prioritizing getting vaccines into the community. The new package is being negotiated now. It's a $1.9 trillion package. It is likely to include state and local aid. Those numbers are still being negotiated, but I am optimistic that a package will have direct aid to counties and municipalities. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know why my phone kept turning off. Sorry about that. I'll turn it back to you, Mark. Happy to answer any questions, or if there were certain parts that didn't come through, if you could let me know.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for your availability. You've always been there for us whenever we've had a question, so thank you for that. I believe Mr. Zerlo has a question for you, ma'am.
Good evening, Elise. How are you?
Good.
So the one thing I don't think I heard, and I think I'm aware of, is part of the package in transportation aid to include airport funding, which, as you know, is critical to us. And I think there's $8 billion or so for airports in the package.
Yes. So in previous packages, there has been funds for Plattsburgh Airport as well as other airports in the district to the tune of millions of dollars. I anticipate there will be an additional robust multi-billion-dollar investment in DOT funds. Obviously, that's going to be very, very important for our airports like in Plattsburgh.
Thank you.
Do any of the legislators have a question? Any at all? Okay.
So I mean, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You did talk to the fact that the border is something that's high. Is there any updates? I know Mr. Trudeau has extended, I believe, close to the end of February, the border closure, but we're at least talking now as far as a plan to reopen, at least discussions of maybe a matrix to get open.
Yes, and we're really pushing that as co-chairs of the Northern Border Caucus. Those talks were ongoing at the tail end of the Trump administration, and they continue in the Biden administration. What I'm very supportive of is the executive order to really prioritize those bilateral discussions. So we do have that working group. We are in touch with the administration, and I'm in touch with our Canadian friends and ministers across the border. So what we want to see is, rather than this 30-day by 30-day extension, actually have metrics for how we meet those, so we have a path towards more certainty to reopen the border.
I just forwarded.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone at all? Congresswoman, again, thank you very much for joining us. You've always been a great supporter of ours, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. Don't hesitate to reach out to my office. And again, apology for the technical difficulties. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I forgot about the okay. Back to regular business. All legislators have received a copy of the stenographer's minutes of the January 27th, 2021 regular session. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. May I have a motion? I have a motion from Legislator Waldron, a second from, I believe, Legislator Hughes.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. With the virtual format that we are using here tonight, we will not be having public comment this afternoon. However, members of the public are welcome to express their concerns or comments by emailing us at legislature@clintoncountygov.com. That's legislature@clintoncountygov.com. We will now go to committee reports. Each legislator chairs one of the 10 standing committees, and I will call on the chairperson of each committee in alphabetical order by committee, starting with Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Zerlo. As Mr. Conroy is absent, could you...
Yes, sir. On behalf of Legislator Conroy, the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting that was scheduled for Monday, February 8th was canceled. The next Buildings and Grounds Committee is tentatively scheduled for Monday, March 8th at 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Children and Family Services, Legislator Potiker.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, Children and Family Services Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 2nd was canceled. The committee was polled on resolutions number 59 through number 62 on today's agenda. The next Children and Family Services Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, March 2nd at 5:15 p.m. End of report.
Thank you very much. Economic Development and County Operations with Legislator Walton.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Economic Development and County Operations Committee met earlier this afternoon via Zoom. Glenn Cutter, the planning director, was present to discuss a resolution regarding a contract amendment with New York State Office of Community Renewal and Housing Trust Fund Corporation. Dave Randall, the Director of Information Technology, was present to discuss county information security policies. Resolutions number 63 through 67 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. The next Economic Development and County Operations Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, March 10th at 4 p.m. I believe that will probably be March 9th at 4 p.m.
Okay.
End of report. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance, Legislator Tennant.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee met on Wednesday, February 3rd via Zoom. Kimberly Davis, the County Treasurer, and Rebecca Murphy, the Deputy County Treasurer, were present to discuss various sales tax charts. There was also a discussion on 2020 occupancy tax, a correction of errors report, and in-rem foreclosure for 2020. Ms. Davis also disclosed the new tax collection statute in the property maintenance law. Sean Lucas, the landfill general manager, was also present to discuss proposed changes to certain landfill charges. Resolutions 68 and 69 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. The next Finance Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, March 3rd at 5:15 p.m. via Zoom. End of report.
Thank you very much. Health, Legislator Hughes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Health Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 2nd was canceled. The committee was pulled on resolutions 70 through 72 on today's agenda. The next Health Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, March 2nd at 4:30 p.m. And with us tonight is Mr. John Canoza and Eric Day, Director of Public Health and Director of Emergency Services, to provide us with a brief update.
Thank you, Legislator. Thank you, Legislator Hughes. Much appreciated. I usually run down the numbers with you first, so I will do that. I'm very happy to tell you all that our numbers are continuing to steadily decline. I'm trying to be optimistic yet realistic. Today, we had from last night 27 new cases. The day before, Monday night, we had 29 new cases, which is a far cry from the high numbers in the 60s and 90s that we had back a month ago in January, so post-holiday time. So we have currently 243 active cases in isolation. We continue to work with schools. They still have cases, and it's always a big chore when we have to do contact tracing and isolation quarantine dedication for schools, because there are larger populations to deal with for that. So at this time, we're looking at a very important, also equally number, probably more important than ours, with CVPH Hospital reporting now 11 total positive cases in-house. Last week at this time, they had 20 or 21 positive cases in-house. That's a far cry improvement from where they stood before. So, and being that happened, they are now out of disaster mode at the hospital. They returned to standard work mode up there. So that is something good for all of us to recognize and to advertise around the county. Our hospital's doing better, improved. Our case numbers in our communities are decreasing steadily. Not going away yet, but decreasing. We're looking at vaccinations that we've done already, 938 first doses and 77 second doses to date. We have another pod clinic coming up this Thursday at the SUNY Fieldhouse, where we plan to equal what we did last week and give out 300 plus vaccinations there. for remaining OPWDD candidates. We only have a few left, and we have been allowed by the state of New York to have any additional vaccinations we have left over to use on essential workers. Those including restaurant workers, restaurant delivery people, grocery clerks. Continuing with that, we have a few law enforcement officers to catch up with and some firefighters, as I understand. We're also looking at teachers and a few, hopefully 20 or so high-risk SUNY professors as teachers that are face-to-face with their students coming up. So we're working it down the line. As you know, next week we'll be working up to include those candidates in our communities that have comorbidities. We have the 13 specific comorbidities here. We are working on a plan right now to include either or both a doctor's note certification testifying to such comorbidity a patient might have, or better yet, we're hoping to get this throughout the whole North Country, not just Clinton County, but other counties in the North Country, as well as the state of New York, an attestation letter, sign off, that each patient would bring to the clinic testifying that they have one of these 13 comorbidities. Sign your name, John Smith, here's where I live, and we'll be able to give them a vaccination. So we're waiting for the state. We definitely want to be first and foremost consistent with the state. That would be the easiest for our patrons in the public and doctors, okay? Because they're getting hammered right now by people going to them asking for notes testifying to such comorbidities. So, but again,
John, those same people will be eligible on the Am I Eligible website also, starting when?
Correct.
Not until the 15th.
The 15th, that's right. Starting this weekend, Michael. Very good, yes. So they can get their shots at the state state site. As you know, the state, I was going to mention that, was doing 500 a day, give or take. Now they're doing 1,000 per day. At least 500 first doses and 500 second doses. So to those people that have already had their first shot. So in addition to these patrons in our community that have comorbidities coming to our site once or twice a week that we'll have open, we're going to have to ramp up to 2 days a week now because we're looking at getting more vaccine that the hospital will not be getting. We're going to likely see a bump up of roughly doubling. So instead of 300 a week, we're going to look at 600 a week. And then add to that second doses, okay? So, but as Mike mentioned, you can get vaccinated at our site that we're going to be holding this week, Thursday, next week, likely Thursday and Friday, and of course the state vaccination site where they're doing about 1,000 a day. We are so blessed to have that state site in Plattsburgh. I thank those guys every day. So, just a final word. Tomorrow we're having a press conference here with SUNY President Alex Inietti, myself, Dr. Davey, and Dr. Walter Rietzema from CVPH. So mostly status updates and preaching the same message. Vaccinations are getting out there, but we still must keep our guard up that we've learned over the last year and protect each other. So a final note number, it's important that I mention 17% of the eligible Clinton County population has had their first dose already. Of course, the uneligible is those under 16 or 18. But that gives you a sample of how good we're doing on the vaccination front. Any questions? You got anything? Eric, any question? I was just on that.
Say again, Mike?
No, do you have anything, Eric, for us?
I don't have anything to add. The only thing I was just running down through what John said. We are doing 300 second doses on Friday. I don't know if we raised on that either.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
We are catching 300 second doses this Friday in a senior housing facility that we hit first dose 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Our ladies, our nurses are going to the Lakeview Tower
Yeah.
senior citizens for their second dose. And those will be at least 100 second doses on that day, so.
And
gotta-
I'm sorry, Calvin, go ahead.
That's okay. Well, I don't want to preempt you here, Mike. I should point out today that people who are on the call list for Kinney's are getting the notice that it's available at Kinney's, and I know of one person who called and got a shot coming in tomorrow. So that's so the
good. There's
pharmacies.
a lot of luck in this game, yeah.
Yeah, the pharmacies are starting to get some of their shots back again.
Yeah.
And I looked online today about this 95% efficacy, and so on, and it doesn't sound quite as cut and dried as we'd all like to think it is. And are we afraid that when a lot of people get their shots that they're going to over-relax there's precautions here to stay safe?
Absolutely. You hit that nail right on the head. Yes, we worry about that. Well, 50%, 80% of your county's vaccinated. We don't have to worry about it anymore. No, that's not the case. That's not. We need to still be protective. We've learned it all anyway. We've gone through the hard part. We've learned how to be safety conscious and protective of our fellow public. So let's just keep doing it, you know? Even though the masks are uncomfortable, we got to keep doing it.
So because it's not 100%, will we be keeping track of the vaccinated people who end up getting the virus after?
I am pretty darn sure. I have Margaret's hearing as my numbers guru. Across the state, there are numbers gurus who will be keeping track of that, yes.
Okay, thanks, John.
Yep.
So John mentioned, folks, how fortunate we are to have had that state site being located at Plattsburgh International, and it's worked very well, very efficient. We've only heard good things. Now the bad part, we are still working. Eric is working with the state on a reimbursement plan. So we don't lose money by hosting the state of New York, although we're very glad that they're here. Eric has been charged with working with state DOH and state Office of General Services to work out those details.
Anything else yes, go right ahead, Francis. Legislator Perrier.
I got a question for John, very simple question. Maybe it's been discussed before, but I didn't hear it. Is the second shot the same medicine as the first shot?
Yes.
Is it exactly the same?
It has to be. If you got Pfizer first shot, you got to get Pfizer number 2. Same for Moderna. So.
No, but is you get the second shot from Pfizer? Is it the same one as the same medicine as the first shot from Pfizer?
Same. Boost. Okay. Call it a booster. Remember those old days when we were younger? Okay. We had to get boosters. We were kids. Same type of thing. Yeah, but it's the same. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Legislator Hughes, is that the end of your report? You have something to add?
That is the end of my report, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on, Human Services, Legislator Perrier.
Human Services Committee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, February 3rd was canceled. The committee was polled on resolutions number 73 through 76 on today's agenda. The next Human Services Committee meeting will tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, March 3rd at 4:15 p.m. End of report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Personnel Committee. The Personnel Committee met on Monday, February 1st. Kim Kinbaum, the Personnel Director, presented the draft Clinton County Pandemic Preparedness Operation Plan required by New York State law. The draft plan was sent to each union for review prior to legislature approval. Resolutions number 77 through 99 have been placed on today's agenda as a result.
91, Chairman.
What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Resolutions number 77 through 91 have been placed on today's agenda as a result of the committee's recommendations. And the next Personnel Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, March 1st at 4 p.m. Plattsburgh International Airport, Legislator Hall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Plattsburgh International Airport Committee has not met since the last regular session. The committee was polled on resolutions 92 and 93 on tonight's agenda. And this is the very important part of this report. The Plattsburgh International Airport Committee's next meeting is scheduled for February 17th at 4 p.m. All members, mark that down. February 17th, it's Wednesday, 4 p.m. at the Government Center in the Chambers. End of report.
Thank you. Public Safety, Legislator Capstein.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Public Safety Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, February 1st was canceled. The committee was polled on resolutions number 94 through 98 on today's agenda. The next Public Safety Committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, March 1st at 5 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. Transportation, Legislator Hughes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The transportation meeting scheduled for Monday, February 8th, canceled. The committee was polled on resolutions 99 and 100 on today's agenda. The next transportation committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, March 8th at 5:15 p.m. End of report, sir.
Thank you. Liaison reports, we'll run through those quickly. Board of Health, we just heard from John, and we'll move to Chamber of Commerce, Legislator Potiker. Liaison report, Rick?
I had a phone conversation with the chamber, and there's no report at this moment, at this time.
Okay, thank you. Cooperative Extension, Legislator Timmons.
We meet next week, the 16th.
Very good.
Mr. Timmons, I believe your affidavit was filed in the clerk's office and sent to Soil and Water. So,
Thank you.
Forgot. Yeah.
Discipline Review, nothing. Grievance Committee, nothing. Inter-County, Legislator Waldron.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Inter-County met on January 28th. It was actually a very long meeting. I won't go too far into it, but obviously we were being updated by NISAC and what they feel is to come. One of the notes were that the legalization of marijuana was probably going to happen. They believe that it's going to be counties can opt in or opt out of that. So the counties who opt out obviously won't be part of the revenue. There's also an issue a few years ago regarding the word timber. So there are lobbyists and environmental groups that are heavily trying to define timber as a less than 3-foot twig, and how this affects anybody who has any areas in the park, is how the DEC would be able to maintain those recreation trails, hiking trails, and also to provide whatever infrastructure they need into to providing cell service. So they've been fighting hard on behalf of the Adirondacks to hopefully not win this case in court by them to determine that timber was, a twig. End of report. There you go.
A well-reasoned argument. Thank you. Let's see, I've lost my place there. LC&LG Regional Planning Board, Legislator Ferrier or Hughes, or both. LC&LG,
Mr. Chairman.
no report?
No.
Okay. Soil and Water, Legislator Ferrier and Timmons.
We actually meet next week. I did meet with Pete and Sue, though, the other day via Zoom and had to go over the yearly financials, being treasurer. And everything is in perfect order and signed and sent to the state.
All right, thank you. Staff members have any reports this evening? Mr. Zerlo?
Yeah, a couple things. I sent the board an invitation from the governor's office regarding tomorrow morning's New York State executive budget briefing. That is a virtual briefing, which will start at 8:30. I believe the ability to RSVP was on that email that I sent you. If you have any interest in getting briefed by Commissioner Kulisade, who is representing the governor in that endeavor. Secondly, I also forwarded everybody the NISAC virtual conference information. There are a whole host of seminars that are available to us for free on a bunch of topics that are extremely germane to county government at this point. And I would urge you all to review that agenda. And if there's something that piques your interest, please sign on, especially items that may be in the areas of your committee jurisdictions. And lastly, we did receive a little bit of good news, and maybe Kim can speak to this. But Kim, why don't you talk about the unemployment reimbursement at 100%?
So if you recall, when we did the large furlough program under the CARES Act, excuse me, we were able to seek reimbursement of 50% of our unemployment costs. We just got word that they actually will be funding 100% of the county's unemployment costs for all of those individuals that were furloughed. So that's a savings. As you recall, we saved about $1 million from the furlough program. This is an additional $670,000 that we would save from the unemployment costs.
So, very good news.
Anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Jackie, do you have anything for us?
I would like to request an executive session to discuss potential settlement in the Vernon versus Clinton County litigation.
Okay. Thank you. Anything other on that? Okay. For me, I'll just run through really quickly. As you all know, I'm on Zoom calls. I don't want to say all day long, but many Zoom calls during the course of the day. I'm on we've been on the control room calls. They are ongoing. They've been on since March. We've been on almost a year now for the control room calls. We did the State of the County address for the State of the County, City, and Town, along with the North Country Chamber of Commerce. We had a call in with Senator Schumer, where he addressed CARES Act funding, some of which you just heard from Congresswoman Stefanik. We've been involved in the NISAC Public Safety Committee hearings, or rather meeting for various resolutions. And I didn't catch it, but I think John mentioned maybe yesterday at the site they did 1,006 vaccination sites, or rather vaccinations at the site. So that's kind of what I've been doing over the last little while. And if you don't have any questions for me, we will move on to the resolutions. Okay. Before voting on the resolutions, I want to note that the majority of the resolutions have been thoroughly discussed by the appropriate committees, and the legislature is taking action tonight based in large part on the recommendation of those committees. Mr. Zerlo, would you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted upon?
Certainly. Resolution number 59, amending resolution number 985 dated December 11, 2019, titled Authorizing Various Contracts for the Year 2020 Social Services.
Motion, Legislator Potiker. Second, Legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Perrier?
Were you losing?
Oh, you're muted.
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 60, authorizing safe harbor grant application and acceptance, social services.
Motion, Legislator Potiker. Second, Legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 61, amending Resolution 769 dated December 16, 2020, titled Authorizing the Youth Bureau to file an application for state aid for youth development program allocations and authorizing various contracts. Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Potiker, second, legislator Waldron. Discussion.
Obviously, you can see from this resolution that it resulted in increase to all the youth programs within your eligible municipalities.
Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 62, approving appointments to the Clinton County Youth Board, Youth Bureau.
Motion, legislator Perrier, second, legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 63, authorizing payment of membership dues, weights, and measures.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 64, authorizing contract amendment with the New York State Office of Community Renewal and Housing Trust Fund Corporation, Planning Department.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Hughes. Discussion.
Ms. Waldron, let me go into a little bit of detail on this one from your committee this evening. Legislators, you may recall way back when this grant, we tried to split the money between COVID rent relief, rent assistance, and the normal first-time homebuyers program, and that was not allowed. Mr. Cutter reported that to date, only $37,000 of that grant has been used for, is that right? No, $12,000. Only $12,000 has been used for rent relief. We have, the planning department has subsequently been notified that they can, in fact, now split that grant, and the proposal contained herein is for $50,000 to be used for rent relief. They figure that's going to be enough to cover that portion, and $350,000 appropriated to the first-time home buyers program. So this now provides us the flexibility to program those monies properly.
Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Resolution 65, authorizing payment of membership dues, information technology.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Potiker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Resolution number 66, authorizing Clean Energy Communities Grant application and acceptance, economic development.
Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Resolution 67, authorizing lease extension with the Lease M. Stefanik Legislature.
Okay. Motion, legislator Waldron, second, legislator Castine. Discussion.
Very briefly, as everybody is aware, the Congresswoman leases space in this building from us, and they're only allowed to lease space concurrent with their term of office. As a successful candidate, her staff has reached out and asked that this lease be extended for the remainder of her current term, which is 2 years, and it includes an increase of 2% on the rental rate.
We have a lease for a lease. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried. Thank you.
Resolution number 68, approving Strategic Planning Commission's recommendation to expend occupancy tax revenue, Legislature.
Motion, legislator Timmons, second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Resolution number 69, authorizing contract with Barton and LaJudas DPC relative to the Clinton County Corrective Measures Remedial Treatment System for the 2021 Permit Monitoring and Reporting Services, Solid Waste.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hall. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution number 70, approving appointment to the Clinton County Behavioral Health Subcommittee, Mental Health and Addiction.
Motion legislator Hughes, second legislator Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 71, awarding request for proposals for projects for assistance in transformation from homelessness, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Hughes, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 72, authorizing contract with various veterinary offices, health department.
Motion legislator Hughes, second legislator Castine. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 73, authorizing payment of membership dues, Office for the Aging.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 74, approving appointments to the Office for the Aging Advisory Committee, Office for the Aging.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Conacher. Discussion? Legislator Hughes and legislator Henry are going to recuse themselves on this vote. I have you, that's right, Wendell? I see you raise your hand there. Yep, okay. We will recuse ourselves.
Still,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
still 6 votes in favor, sir.
That's six votes.
Yeah.
Carried. I counted them already.
Resolution number 75, authorizing various contracts, Office for the Aging.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 76, authorizing payment of membership dues, Veterans Office.
Motion legislator Perrier, second legislator Hughes. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Resolution number 77, approving backfill of permanent full-time public health nurse, Health Department.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 78, approving backfill of permanent part-time station attendant, Solid Waste.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Castine. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 79, approving backfill of permanent full-time social welfare examiner, social services.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Waldron. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 80, approving backfill of permanent full-time social welfare examiner, social services.
Motion legislator Castine, second legislator Timmons. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution 81, approving backfill of permanent full-time caseworker position, social services.
Motion legislator Timmons, second legislator Hall. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 82, approving backfill of permanent full-time deputy director of community services position, mental health and addiction.
Motion legislator Hall, second legislator Waldron. Discussion.
Just to remind the committee, the motion that was passed out of personnel was grade 13, step 1. Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got one vote.
Aye.
Aye. You cut out. We couldn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Opposed? Carried. I gotta remember that on both. Maybe I can cut you out.
Resolution number 83, approving backfill of permanent full-time account clerk typist position, mental health and addiction.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 84, approving backfill of permanent part-time account clerk typist, mental health and addiction.
What number is that?
84, sir.
Get that. Okay. Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 85, approving backfill of permanent full-time services, aging specialist, office for the aging.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 86, approving backfill of permanent full-time services, aging specialist, office for the aging.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 87, approving replacement of permanent full-time account clerk typist with a permanent part-time account clerk typist, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Waldron. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 88, approving extension of a temporary full-time backfill of a director of nursing position, nursing home.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 89, approving backfill of permanent part-time assistant district attorney, district attorney's office.
Motion, legislator Waldron. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 90, approving educational leave of absence for a permanent full-time assistant district attorney position, district attorney's office.
Motion, legislator Waldron. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 91, authorizing payment of 2021 membership dues personnel.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Timmons. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 92, authorizing contract with MRB Group, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 93, authorizing contract with MRB Group, Plattsburgh International.
Motion, legislator Hall. Second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 94, authorizing payment of membership dues, coroner's office.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 95, authorizing Adirondack Foundation grant application, District Attorney's Office, Child Advocacy Center.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Perrier. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier,
Yes.
Ms. Waldron.
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 96, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the district attorneys, federal justice seizure reserve, and state seizure reserve. District Attorney's Office.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Boddicker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. Resolution number 97, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for the district attorney's office, state seizure reserve. District Attorney's Office.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Waldron. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 98, authorizing contract with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, Alternatives to Incarceration Plan and Funding, Probation.
Motion, legislator Castine. Second, legislator Hall. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 99, authorizing contract with Rennie's Repair, Highway.
Motion, legislator Boddicker. Second, legislator Hughes. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
Resolution number 100, authorizing payment of membership dues, Highway.
Motion, legislator Hughes. Second, legislator Boddicker. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried.
And Resolution 101, authorizing the county treasurer to establish appropriation and corresponding revenue for Child Advocacy Center grant, District Attorney's Office.
Motion, legislator Timmons. Second, legislator Castine. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Perrier?
Yes.
Ms. Waldron?
Yes.
Carried. That does it for our resolutions. Does anyone have anything further to come before the legislature?
Chairman, the only other thing I could think of is I didn't know if you wanted to remind the group of Mr. McGill's progress and the fact that I believe the Law Enforcement Review Committee is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, right? Thank you. Tomorrow at 5, the Law Enforcement Review Committee will be meeting here in the legislative chambers at 5 o'clock, chaired by Mr. McGill, Judge McGill. So everyone is obviously welcome to come and attend that. So that'll be our, I don't know what meeting that will be, our 5th or 6th or 7th, anyway, a bunch of them. So that is tomorrow night. Anything else to add on that, Michael, that I might have forgotten? Kimberly? Oh, sorry, Kim?
It's fine.
Okay, in that case, I'd like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a matter of litigation involving a settlement with Murnane Building Construction.
Motion.
I have a motion by Boddicker, I believe, a second by legislator Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Give us a minute, and we'll let you know when we're ready to go. I have a motion to leave executive session. I have a motion from legislator Hall, second from legislator Perrier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are out of executive session. We will be in a minute. Hold on.
David, we're live.
Are we good? Wait for my director. Action. Okay, if nothing further,
Mr. Chairman,
adjourn.
before we do adjourn, I'd just like to remind the airport committee, next Wednesday, the 17th, at 4 p.m. at the Government Center. Make sure you mark it on your calendars. Thank you.
Mr. Hall, we'll notify the press of the meeting change.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Thank
I have a motion by legislator Hall, second by legislator Perrier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.